so cute when they're like this.
Finn's voice was quiet. He didn't want to do it. It was hard not to cry, but they weren't going to be cute in a month. They were going to be 5 metres tall, with a torrent of the most corrosive, ecologically destructive substance known to man leaking out of all the pores of their bodies. There was a bunch of little toads swimming in a dirty pond off the raised freeway, enjoying a flow of filthy water from a flood drain above. There was a cyclone warning in effect, but work needed me badly. Finn started to skip in the pond with the creatures, forcing the tadpoles to try to dig into the soft mud. I grabbed the plastic bucket I'd brought with me, a small shovel, and some Greeno. Get out of there! Finn looked at me, disappointed, his golden curls falling over his round brown face. He did get out, credit to him.
Why do we pour Greeno on them, Dad?
We just have to. I've explained this before. Once there were little toads, who were still big meanies, who did a lot of bad stuff to the environment and the other animals. Then, after a big accident, they got really big and a lot worse. We can't really have them here or anywhere, ideally. After a second, the green powder turned from a light verdant colour to a sulphurous yellow as it made the toads turn on each other and eat each other's eggs, pigmenting the puddle a muddy brown with their toxins and limbs as they tore each other apart. After a second, the solution detoxified the area, turning it to an algae green. The stench made me hack up a heavy wad of phlegm streaked with red. Inside, now.
I like the rain.
Finn stood still, arms outstretched, scrunching his face and drinking in the storm. The thunder was picking up now. I dragged him inside, told him I loved him, and then set off to work. His mum was just pulling in when I left, and for all the stress of a cyclone, I'm blessed that avoiding eye contact was easy. All the high beam headlights turned driving into a game of lines, hope, and careful strategy. I knew she knew what was happening. She always did. I just couldn't bear to let her see my face as I went. The office was leaking water from the roof, the floors. The whole place felt like it was about to drown. We can't afford 2 more days?
Yeah, we can't afford that many hours, let alone the effing time, that's for sure.
He was right. Lockie had been at me for a week about the Airlie incident. I'd taken 1 week of leave, once in 4 years. The whole fucking thing goes up shit creek without a paddle or a boat.
I'm sorry that you've got that shoulder in your lung thing, eh? No one else is certified bloody to do it. Who isn't halfway across the world? With those campers going missing in the mud up there, the department really wants it done quickly and properly, and they bloody want the best, doing it absolutely right. They're paying extra, mate. Just take the tank for God's sake.
Am I going alone?
You'll have the kombucha crooks when you get there as well. You've also got Diane from the coroner's office down the hall coming up with you, and a couple of other departments finest in Outpost A.
The word coroner struck like it had been waiting at the front door all week just for me. Diane and I had known each other for a while, and each time we've worked together, she'd just gotten sadder and sadder about the state of things. She's nice.
She's quiet, but it'll help the road trip. I reckon it's a bit less than 12 hours away.
Central Queensland summers make the ground go a strange kind of loose. Like there's always something just underneath the roads. The heat weighs you down and makes you say things you thought you'd never say. I miss Adelaide, I said, breaking 3 hours of silence. Diane was eating chips.
You lived in Adelaide?
Diane looked intently at me. smiling for a second while going 110, just nearly breaking the speed limit for the first time since we'd set off from Redcliffe this morning.
Was it nice?
It was hard. Boring. They are probably the best years of my life.
I grew up in Brizzy. Parents were lawyers.
She was back, focused on the road. She had a habit of checking her mirrors every 5 seconds on the dot, even when she wasn't thinking of changing lanes. Diane's voice was tired. I thought it might be how much she ate this morning. Didn't know people who wear suits and go running could eat that many meat pies. What did you think?
I think it's weird they're sending a dog and vodka person. A lawyer, funnily. Not like, ha-ha, the other one.
But they didn't tell me that bit. Aren't we just doing the quadrants and then placing markers, doing procedure? They wouldn't lean on us. They couldn't. Why would they? She pointed out the window at a dead field, the midday sun glaring down on rotten black sugar canes and pineapple bushes, sprouting cancerous, weed-like protrusions where they should have fruit. Another field where cows were emaciated, covered in bleeding sores.
You think they want this?
Diane was exasperated, pointing out the devoured land all around us.
Of course not. They want profits. This is just the byproduct. They want us to keep doing things this way because it's profited them forever. We're just a bin for dead things. Cleaning up their messes, they try to make the next nightmare eco-friendly or work safe. But even if we control the population here, there'll be another incident, another place unfit for any kind of life, which we have to meander into with barely an accurate seismometer and a sharp stick available.
At least this job's only for a day.
That's the thing, though. It's not.
I thought that would sound like consolation. It's never been that bad for me. It hadn't been. But she was right.
I know you a little better than that, mate. That cough sounds a lot worse than it did last time we went out. I'm sure it hasn't been that bad. I'm just not sure about this one. Where we're going, by the sounds of it, it's going to be bad for everyone. I know they've said it'll be routine, but they don't bring out lawyers and convict labour for routine. When it gets bad for everyone, I want you to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You won't be taking care of anyone if you're dead.
Diane's words were as steady as her driving. Her eyes trained on the radio. She turned it up. A Category 4 cyclone had hit the CBD. Worst it's been in years. The rest of the drive was a bit awkward, and dinner wasn't very nice. We individually mulled over the prospect that we were wading headfirst into still water. The night wasn't over yet, and the roads were darker than anything now. The only time when you can't drive over 40, or you'll end up slamming headfirst into a slimy bollard made of muscle and poison. She offered me a fist bump as we set up for a last-minute drink stop.
We've got this.
For sure.
I'll get you what you got last time.
Yep. Picture of Finn came up on my phone, buzzing with a message from Lee. Delivered an hour ago. I realise we're past the range of the towers by this point. I think for a second about using that sat phone. For some fucking reason, I think about the flag you'd have put up on my profile. The talk I'd have to have about work devices used for personal conversations. I look at the text boxes, and I feel tears welling up. I turn away a second, catch a glimpse of the servo, boarded up and rusted, everything coated in a fine layer of soot. A sign saying they're permanently closed.
I miss you. I'm sorry we couldn't say goodbye before you left.
I miss you too. I'll be back tomorrow. I love you both. The air was coarse with ash, whipped up in the harsh wind by obsidian dust devils. I couldn't stand it after the first minute, even through my mask. And then my coughing got hot, burning in my chest. Back in the car, windows down, we drove across slushy mud and silt to get to the Airlie outreach. It took 5 minutes from the servo to get to the exclusion zone perimeter. On a huge yellow sign with skulls and crossbones plastered on the fence at the entrance.
Warning, Bufo Maximus contamination area. Trespass under threat of injury, sickness and death.
Underneath the warning, a curled over figure covered in those giant red sores, leaking black fluid, eyes bulging out of its sockets. Outpost A was a few hills over and down into the old tourist area. A long while ago, the water was clear, coral was bright and alive. There were so many fish that would swim past your legs, the little shiny ones that all go by and glow like it's the roof of a Queenslander in the hot sun. Now, with the water drained and dammed off, nothing's left but the stink of the toads. When we got there, first checks were on the stockpile of Greeno and Buff-Off in the tank and in the outpost. Immense piles of bags containing a slightly acidic smelling powder. A similarly large pile of barrels containing a liquid solution meant to sterilise and clean the area. It smelled like Dettol. Inside the outpost, there were a few controllers, a bored-looking suit with an odd eye I'd never seen before, a few SES guys, and Sleepy Luke, the army man who was left behind to clean up with us. Ramshackle would describe it. Less than a few computers, a few phones, and a big whiteboard with the same lines I'd been staring at all day, put up alongside a few scant brainstorms. Classic stuff. I lived for the desolation of it, like going out with bare feet and shorts on a cold night. My dad taught me it was a man's job to go out and hunt for his family, to do what others can't when the going gets tough. The bored man got up to greet us, after we stood there for a second waiting for people to realise we existed.
Hi. I'm Marlon from Dollop and Rotker's. We were hoping to find your documentation on the recent events in Airlie, the ones on the missing campers. Do you have any files or dossier, anything like that?
Marlon was acting nervous. His anxiousness told me he was a city boy. The sweat stains, the poor clothes he chose. This is dire, mate. Where's the support? Convicts pretty much get a 10-minute video explaining how likely they are to die. They aren't going to be doing shit. We've got no infrastructure. This is just unacceptable.
I've explained this to the others. Dollop and Rotker just don't see, as of now, in this stage of the investigation, a reason to cover this in our environmental damage policy. We haven't seen a single piece of evidence to suggest the smoke is more than a harmless runoff of our legal refineries. We do not suspect that there has been any structural erosion, as the landfill has remained steadily embanking the shore for a decade. Cane toads do not have the capacity to poison the land to that degree. They are to be treated as the government recommends, by the use of Greeno and Buff-Off. Plus, we're just here for one, just one!
Then why are you here? If you'd have us treat this place like it's earth to salt, what's the point in doing a manual sweep? Greeno and Buff-Off makes shit die. It makes the plants die. Let alone the danger in hunting a full-grown cane toad without a proper scouting drone. Like these army dickheads are meant to have. Even if we're here for one, there's very rarely just one.
This will be a recorded trial.
Of what?
Diane folded her arms.
Over in America, for a little while, we've been using these suits on our fracking basins that are meant to protect more totally and allow for more agility than any kind of hazmat suit available on the market. This is market research, I need my goddamn documents otherwise. I'm shit out of anything to give to my direct report. Please. Is it too much to ask for a little expedition? You're not even required to finish the population off, because this whole place has been blacked out on the map anyway.
This is inadvisably dangerous, even with PPE.
Diane had been on cane toads for longer than just about anyone, and this was the most severe advice I'd ever seen her give.
It's like saying, we don't need aerial drops, we don't need fire trucks, or any wet spearing. Let's just put all our boys in fucking damp paper towels, or that'll ward off the heat. Fuck! Fuck! Jesus fucking Christ.
She's right. These suits better be top shit.
All of that for one measly toad? I'll remind you, if you didn't know, if I'm not back by tomorrow afternoon, no one gets paid, including you, her, and everyone else in a 100-metre radius.
So the company is paying us to be here. Queensland government doesn't even have the dosh.
And I have a very shit contract.
Everyone's doing it shit, I guess. It's up to us then. It's always up to us. My shoulders slumped. We had no choice. There'd be no traps, no markers. It was a full hunting expedition. Marlon's eyes sunk. His brown, twiggy beard had a little sauce in it still. Mayonnaise bun, I guess. The early morning darkness was oppressive. Stars barely breaking through dirty, pitch-black clouds. Lightning turned the coast purple far away, past the mountains. In the distance, a low, wide croaking that vibrated the ground. Subtle at first, glass and tin rattling occasionally, the odd shiver in the wood. Then you realise the uneasy feeling doesn't go away, and the earth beneath you becomes unsure. The sound is perpetual, and the rumbles, like nausea, just stay there, under your feet. We hadn't left Outpost A by 2 AM like we were meant to.
I'm leaving.
Diane was sat in the driver's seat of the tank again. Everyone was staring at her, including about 40 or so penal conscript toad hunters, all garbed in this silicon tubing with opaque glass visors on the front, holding and leaning on bomb-tipped spears in varying poses of comfort and bewilderment. Roads are fucked right now, mate. It's peak hour. I tried humour first. Sue me. Diane adjusted her glasses and put her silver hair back on her shoulder. She told me on the drive up that her roots had just shown back up. She was mad about it.
I'm not gonna die for some fucking corporate guinea piggery. Are you insane?
It's fucked. I know. Can you roll the window down?
What? Oh.
It's fucked. But shit's tight for me and Lee right now. She hates this job for me. She's worried sick every bloody night about me, and she knows you're the only person in the office that I can even tolerate. I don't want to disappoint her by not being able to have an open casket, and you're so good at the instructions. I don't want one of these dumb cunts blowing my head off on accident when he pretends he's got a lightsaber.
Darren, we shouldn't be doing this, ever. If they do it again after tonight, I'm suing this fucking place. Fatality rate is about 1 in 6. Rates of cancer and silicosis after more than a full day out here are skyrocketing. The tools we're using are medieval. There's fuck all equipment that'll work out here because of the humidity. Companies can't even be bothered to automate the process to get people out of the equation. This isn't 20 years ago. We don't have the money for wide-scale cleanup of disasters in our budget anymore. So people are going to keep dying from this. If that wasn't bad enough, we might not even be helping. Not forgetting these conscripts helping us probably don't even have life insurance.
What do you mean we might not even be helping? The idea is just silly. Every one toad could spawn thousands. One hunt could decimate a generation. It's simple risk and reward.
Darren, please. We see more of this every year up here. This process, the way we're doing this, doesn't help, and it's clear they're making more of whatever causes the bufos because they're trying to clean it up.
Diane, it's not a conspiracy. It's just weird chemicals doing weird shit. At least the company's trying something. Would you rather they weren't trying to help? Isn't potentially saving lives worth it, even if it kills the beach? We don't need the beach.
Yeah, they are killing the beach. I wonder if your son will ever know what clear blue water is like.
It hurt to hear her say it. When she saw my face, she climbed down and gave me a hug.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, mate. Let's just do this one.
One single toad.
She held up her index finger. I smiled, and it gave her the resolve to put on her serious face and trudge on over in her big rain boots to the front of the conscripts. Marlon locked eyes with me, and he faltered, smiling deferentially with that corpo grin of his. Diane was shorter than all of them, wearing a pristine blazer and dress, but speaking like a drill sergeant.
First things first, everyone goes home. Tomorrow we'll be having schooners and palmies. We do this slowly and properly. No one gets left behind unless you're on the line too. Right, we've got about 4 hours while they're asleep and cold to go in and put one down.
She pointed to the stockpile of spear tips.
No less than 3 of these tranquilizers are required for an average adult Bufo Maximus to be paralyzed. The injectors have an activator that extends their range. Compensate and leverage always. Aim for the eyes and mouth, then under the neck plate is soft tissue. Anywhere else is too tough to pierce from afar. Right, next is the buff-off bomb. Once the target is asleep and on its back, go up to the toad and with your whole body's momentum...
She motioned spearing, using the entirety of her body, striking with her legs, back and shoulders. One of the conscripts flinched as she went towards the crowd, despite her not holding anything.
All decisions go through me and Darren first. I'll be on the outpost on the radio to you boys. Make us proud.
Everyone else went back to chatting amongst themselves, except for Marlon, who went up to shake her hand.
That was a wonderful speech. Great physicality.
Fuck off.
I followed after her. Marlon was waiting at the door, stamping his foot on the dusty floorboards until I came up. He poked me, and with a bit of phlegm in his mouth, he said,
I have to go out with you guys.
completely against protocol. I almost laughed.
They want a recording of a demonstration using the suits.
Look, mate, all of these boys are rookies and crims. They're going to take at least an hour to do even one bufo. Should be done quick as piss if I come out and do it with you, though.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Marlon seemed to relax at that. His suit pants were stained with dried mud, and his shirt was too, almost concealing how sweaty his pits were in the boiling humidity. The room was sweltering, and outside was worse, everything coated in a thick brown muck, the wet wind picking up the earth and coating us all in it. That grumbling in the distance, louder, the rain pelting even harder in tandem.
You're a real prideful dickhead, you know.
You're the reason we're late, but I do take pride in my work, yes.
What'll Lee think? You think she knows you're still doing field work?
Well, if I'm good enough at it, she won't have to know.
I wouldn't like my partner lying to me, Darren.
Good thing you're not my partner. Christmas is so close, Diane. The bonus is just to make sure we can leave before the 20th. Easy as piss.
Mate.
She gave me a real hard look. She finished making her tea and went to the control room. The little kitchenette's lights were blaring bright schisms into my vision. I had to look down, my head swirling. I turned off the light and stood there, just for a second, in the darkness, holding my heavy, hurting face. Diane saw me a second later, and I felt a hand on my back.
Just don't let the other dickheads ruin it for Finn, okay? Only do this one. Don't let anyone tell you to do more. They don't get the right.
I'd seen photos of my grandfather with a spear, his long arms hucking the thing into the valley, that dry place we'd grown up in. That's about all I took to Adelaide, an image of a man wearing animal skin, throwing his great Tacoma spear. It was good for a while. Then they needed me up here in the big wet. We were in the hot zone now, where radio flits in and out, where the air can dissolve your lungs if you stay too long. A crook was eyeing me. I thought he might be looking at my watch. Keep your eyes on the mud, champ. He looked back at the trail, his hands trembling, causing his spear tip to rustle some leaves above us.
Wasn't doing anything.
The con was offended. If I was a criminal, I'd expect to be treated like one. But that's just me. Sleepy Luke held his rifle close to his chest, like he was holding a baby. He yawned while pushing one of the slower convicts to the front of the hunting party with the tip of his gun.
This austere might not be rated a high enough caliber for a toad, but it'll sure as fuck be alright for one of you boys to try anything stupid.
Gunshots would also ruin our night, because bufos react aggressively to loud noise. Shut up, everyone, please. We're here to do a job.
Don't let Luke shoot one this time. Over.
Diane was on the radio, keeping overwatch, looking at the seismometer, making bad jokes. We'd been bringing up the kids to kill cane toads for decades, smash them with rocks down at the watering hole past the creek where we swam. It's easy. It's fun. It was saving our food and our nature. Now, we were coming up on where the seismic readings were strongest. A clearing made by a four-wheel drive that rampaged through. Must have been those missing campers. The wheel tracks stopped where we spotted. There it was. An adult Bufo maximus. The cane toad. A worse pest you could not find anywhere on Earth. Luckily, it was only one. We circled it, leaving about 10 metres between us and the toad, alone in a small patch of clearing with roots all around it, the canopy blocking out all but slivers of moonlight. Rain smells of salt and petrica. Gentle scratch of the spear's shaft in my hand. Old memories of my father teaching me how to throw. Spotted the toad. Over.
This is where Darren shows you all what to do in case we find any more on the way back. Over.
The first spear lands right in its eye. The toad hops once, thudding over one of the branches as it falls into discarded leaves and old melted plastic bottles, struggling to get up. Diane, we hit the first tranquilizer. Over.
Good. Over.
Diane, do you know what this place was before it was abandoned? Over.
A plastics disposal site. You should know this. Over.
Hopefully that won't matter. Over.
Just don't detonate until everyone's out of there. Might cause instability. Over.
Hearing that, I stepped forward. I'd need to hit the toad under its back and neck plate in order to get it to roll over, allowing us to pierce its belly. Each of the trank spears was loaded with a cocktail of Greeno, Bufoff, and a sedative strong enough to paralyse the autonomic nervous system, relaxing the creature's muscles. Apart from making it easier to kill, this would make the toxic gas the creature releases poison other toads in the area, weakening, appetizing, making them aggressive towards each other and their young. They called it the Peter Pan effect. The second spear flies at an awkward angle. My arm twinges with little sparks of agony as it overextends in the throw. I feel a thrum in my heart. My blood runs dry. I feel thirsty and anxious.
You're alright?
Oh, yep. Haven't stretched properly.
Darren, report. Over.
Oh, missed. Trying again, over. As I throw the third spear, I see that my last has disappeared. In the dark, with only a few flashlights, it's difficult to make out, but I see the tip of the shaft sinking quickly into the mud. Next to it, what looks like the wheel of a trailer poking out. My chest tightens, my insides seizing, my muscles loosening. I fall. We need to leave. Right fucking now. My throat and my chest restrict as I speak. My voice is near silent, practiced to remain calm in an emergency. But this is different. Everyone around me looks as perplexed as the toad, now practically asleep, rolls over. As it does, I start coughing. Hard. The little wounds are leaking a fluid that spills fast, coming quickly from the socket created by the spears. No one is listening to me. They're staring at the toad. It's 5 days off your sentence if you get more than 2 in a hunt. Marlon and Luke come over and inspect me.
Marlon, Darren, status report.
This fucking rain!
I struggle to get on my hands and knees, all slick and slippery. I can't speak. Marlon takes a look at the radio on his waist, waiting for a reply from Diane. I can't read his face in the dark behind his visor.
And now we spear her in the belly.
Just wait.
No! Wait! When I turn it up, he gazes past me, at the crooks. Marlon's confidence makes me shudder, and I realise I'm not being listened to. Sleepy Luke has gone on smoko. He's watched me pass out on the job before. It's meant to be routine. Everyone treats it like so. Most of the convicts are happy to wait, relaxed in the warm deluge that pours between the gaps in the canopy above us.
We've got these suits. Use them. One of you crooks, hold my camera.
Marlon looks to Luke with pleading eyes, as most of the convicts refuse. They're staring at me, bewildered.
Threaten to shoot them or something.
Luke's eyes are glazed over, but I catch his attention as I slam the ground with my limp fist. He waddles over to me, stowing away his gun on its strap and hand-waving Marlon. The convicts remain docile, standing under the water flowing from the canopy. A few of them asking if I'm okay.
You're alright?
The army man pulls me up by my underarms. It's painful as hell.
You need help, mate. I'll be back.
As Luke does his old man sprint, I turn and see Marlon, with his drenched shirt and tie scrunched up at the bottom of the hazmat suit's glass visor, walk up impatiently to one of the shorter members of the penal corps and steal his spear. He seems imposing for a moment, tugging away the weapon with one hand until he awkwardly gives the startled convict the camera with the other. Marlon goes up to the toad. His left foot sinks deeply for a second into the mud patch, just before it, where the second spear had disappeared into.
Like this!
As he speared the toad's belly, the squelch of the soft flesh like a wheezing balloon, the croaking below became irritated, frantic.
Have you got TB or something? If it's silicosis, it's not us.
Everyone takes a step back from the toad, cheering and ignoring that Marlon just forgot to do the third tranquilizer. The bronze explosion releases a squelching bag of fluid that coats everyone in a smoggy blackness, filled with the occasional limb or organ smelling of burnt sulphur and shit. Marlon pats me on the back, smiling.
I hope you got that!
Marlon's smile fades as he slips and falls into a rivet opened in the ground. I follow with him, my still reeling legs not able to get me away from the forest floor, which has now turned to plasticky, slagging quicksand as the entire crew descends, screaming into the more of a hungry, riveting hive of slimy and sweating beasts, groggily throwing themselves onto each of us, ripping apart our suits in their thick, rubbery mouths. The hole is immense. Dirt falls like metal and flesh. A car filled with skin sloughing, destroyed corpses below us, the campers from before. I see one of the toads get Marlon by the leg. At first just his foot. Then it kicks up hard, and now he's got his right hip being crunched in this vice grip of a little grey and ash amphibian. He moans and chokes and struggles as it struggles with all of its strength. Its glands are leaking black blood as another joins on Marlon's right arm, ripping it from its socket. Another toad is gripping my upper thigh in its slopping gums, and I slip further into the chasm created by the shockwave. I fumble for my bag on its sling, my body cold and wet though I'm sweating. I can't think, I just go. Do I grab a spear from my bag and get the toad on his leg with it? I don't know if it's explosive. A flash. Marlon's arm blows off. Orange blood. The toads. My face. We tumble down. I feel the legs of man and beast kicking at me. What feels like a boulder of dirt, metal, and a rampaging beast devouring itself and us, fueling the deafening wailing and gurgling as we drown in the brown, dirty plastic, crude oil and mud. I start to feel numb in my body. My eyes are swollen and I'm losing my breath. Marlon is dead and on top of me as we get dragged down, and I just hope my phone has reception. I just hope she knows I wasn't running from them.
Are you there?
I can't speak. The lining at my throat being crushed by something big on my back. I think it's on one of my lungs. Luckily it's on the bad one. I feel one arm, searing pain in every bit of me. I think, what would I do if I lived? The question is hard to answer. Thoughts already sour are now mute. How would I live? I start thrashing, just pushing, like a dying thing that doesn't want to die. Something driven by instinct, to move to safety, to somewhere it won't be eaten, won't be devoured, to somewhere it won't be constantly aware of its own impending death. Something grabs the tip of my hand, then my wrist, and starts dragging me. I worry it's a toad and I keep punching and trying to loosen it, but it keeps dragging. I realise these are fingers covered in a thick glove. I let it pull me along. It's one of the crooks, the one who I saw looking at my watch. Sleepy Luke helps him grab me. He's a bit old, but he's still strong. I see others using the other end of the spears to drag people up. The people who didn't fall into the pit are saving us. People are willingly choosing to get in to save us. I'm bleeding from everywhere. It feels like I'm dying. The whole inside of the suit is suddenly searingly hot. And it's not just sweat. It's this sticky, hot, glue-like lava that's stuck to my back and my thighs. I can't see anymore. And I don't bother to stay awake. I hear faint shivers of voices. I'm on the inside of a guitar. Pain releases me, but I'm still so hot. For a second, the thought passes that I'm still in the hole. Toads gnawing at my head and hands. Dead and dying things jumping on my back. Two gone. Done. Then I'm in the hospital room, and the first thing I hear is the creaking of steel. My hospital bed's side rails as my boss leans over me to hear Lee better.
What?
He's not fucking going back.
Well, he might want to be in an admin position.
He's not going back.
She's right. Fuck off. Lee comes and holds my hand. I realise I've got less of it. A pinky and the tip of a pointer. No thumb.
Oh, Darren.
I'm so sorry I didn't say goodbye. I didn't want you guys to worry. It was the last one. I didn't want it to be that bad. It was that bad. It's all been bad.
It's alright.
She puts her head on my chest, and I see Finn in the corner, staring at me as he plays with the strings of his jacket. The hospital's beeping is loud, too loud. I realise there's a harsh ringing in my ear. We should go somewhere quiet.
Yeah?
Somewhere dry. Lee looks up at me, nodding with tears in her eyes. Doesn't have to be Adelaide. She laughs, snorting hard and covering her mouth like she didn't expect to laugh today.